Hello everyone and welcome to the latest episode of the Great British Mickey Waffle. I'm your host Gill and with me tonight are Peter.
Hello.
Ben.
Hello.
Becca.
Hello.
And Claire.
Hello.
Good evening all. How are we?
Good.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, if you detect a slightly uneven edge to my presenting skills tonight, it's because I'm still getting my land legs back after a lovely couple of days on a cruise. No, not the one with The Rock and Emily Blunt. We've just got back from a UK staycation cruise on the Disney Magic. And you're going to hear more about that in next month's episode because by then, Ben and Becca will have gone on a similar cruise. So in the meantime, I'll just pour myself a drink of the day and try to get used to being on land again. Now, when it comes to holidays in Walt Disney World, us Brits tend to book our holidays a long way in advance. And if you've listened to our podcast before, you know that we can talk for days and days about the various places to stay, the various places to eat, and of course, the various places to visit. However, is it still possible to try and visit Walt Disney World on a whim and have a great holiday without doing loads of planning first? Wafflers, what are your thoughts?
Yes and no.
I'll let you know when we get there next. That's helpful.
Yeah,
Very decisive, Ben.
I think it depends on what you want from your trip. I remember our honeymoon, our first trip to Walt Disney World, and it was like we bought every ticket. We hadn't planned a single thing apart from that we were going to buy every ticket, and we didn't make use of all of them. But it didn't dampen the experience one bit. It was so much that we got the bug and we went back and we did it completely different the next time.
Yeah.
So I think there is a thing about being spontaneous when you go to Disney. And I think sometimes if you do something that we've all done before, military precision for the entire 2 weeks, sometimes you get bored or tired of like having this food at this time or going to make sure you've got fast pass or you've got on the ride queue, which is 90 minutes long. And it's like a lot of things, having that flexibility built into your plan makes a whole lot of difference.
That's what we tend to do. We tend to have a plan, but it's not laminated or it's not stuck in stone. We tend to plan and then just if something goes wrong, something goes wrong. The plan is flexible enough just to do something else. It's not a problem. What we mainly plan are the parks that we're going to do. And that's it, really.
We know our must-dos, our must-rides and must-sees and must-eats. And even then, last time, we had planned to go to the Main Street Electrical Parade, which shows you how long ago it was that we went. And we had a special space booked, which had been a perk with the booking when we booked. But on the day, we had a very, very busy day. We hit a wall. We came out of Cirque du Soleil and we both looked at each other and said, let's go back to the room and eat pizza and watch telly. Because we were just utterly exhausted. And we thought, look, we've got this thing. We've been looking forward to it for months. But if you drag yourself there and you're not enjoying it, you know, it'll spoil it. So sometimes you just have to say, no, the plan doesn't matter.
We've done that before. I think it wasn't a party night, was it? It was a night they were doing extra magic hours in the evening and they were open till like 11 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And it was like 5 p.m. and thought, okay, I'm tired. I just want to go back to the hotel. And it was like, what do we do? It's like, we decided to stay in the park. We went and got some food, had some drink. And then it was just like, we chilled out and we just people watched for a couple of hours. And then we had a second wind and just ended up just doing what we wanted to do.
If I remember rightly, it was November the 11th in Magic Kingdom and absolutely heaving.
Yes.
Which didn't help.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So after about 6 o'clock, the crowds kind of went away a bit as well, which helped. We did get that second wind. But the amount of time we've booked Chef de France 3 times in 3 successive holidays. We've never been to Chef de France because we cancel it and we go somewhere else because we just the plan has changed that day. We're tired. We can't be bothered. We don't feel like eating French food.
Too close to home.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't have been to Rose and Crown either?
That's true.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting conversation. It's something that people always ask me when they, people say, "Oh, I'm going to Disney. What do I need to know?" And I'm a strong advocate for what we affectionately in our house call us the family summit, the Disney summit, where we will sit round together. We'll allocate an evening, probably, used to be 6 months before we used to go because you used to have to book ADR 6 months in advance. You don't have to do that now, which is quite nice. But we try and sit down together, often with some food as a family, and we get up laptops and iPads, whatever, and we have a look at all the different things that may have changed since we were last there. And each of us will almost opt for and elect an attraction and something to eat or drink, whether that be a restaurant or a single item in each park. And then so you're left with sort of 16 attractions and 16 food stuffs because there's 4 of us in 4 parks. I can do the maths. And as long as you get to do your 4 attractions that you really, really, really want to do and have your 4, funnel cakes if that's what you want, it's not for me. Then
I agree.
actually everything over and above that is a bonus. So I think we try and instill that approach in the kids, is that nobody's holiday is ruined if you haven't done everything. Nobody's day is miserable because somebody else's choice became in front of yours. It's all upfront and transparent, and we discuss it beforehand. So I know that Morgan will want to do X, Y, or Z, and I know that Millie wants to have a Dole Whip, and we try and make sure that everyone gets what they want at some point during the holiday. Now they're often very, very different, and that makes it fun because you're all experiencing each other's things. So I quite like that approach. And then if you manage to cram in 20 more things, then fabulous, but you've all had the thing that's really important to you. And so we try and schedule those things into some sort of format that we can, so that we know that the princess meet and greet needs to happen I try and get it out of the way in the beginning of the holiday, and then we don't have to spend the rest of the trip trying to meet princesses. Or it might be that we get the kakigori the first day we go to Epcot, and then we don't have to do it again every time, but we might choose to. So that's kind of the approach that we take, and nothing is set in stone, nothing is rigid. We have tried it like that, and as you say, it just doesn't work because other guests haven't read your rule book. So whilst you have an idea in your head of what you want to do, it doesn't always work out. In the rain comes, or you end up with the rainy day cavalcade rather than the Festival of Fantasy parade or whatever it is, and then you have to reorganize. And I think being able to take each day as it comes for what it is the glory of being there. I mean, we're really lucky because we tend to go 10, 14 days. So you get the opportunity, you get another try at it, don't you? Your one day in Magic Kingdom is unlikely to be your only day in Magic Kingdom that visit. Whereas I think some of our American friends who go for 3 or 4 days, you've got to cram everything into one day. So it might feel a bit different for them.
And you've got to choose what park you're going to give up as well.
Yeah,
so if you've only got a 3-day trip, it's like, which one do you choose? We've
got the luxury of time. Yeah, I feel that we have the luxury of time.
Do you think there's so much pressure on a once lifetime trip? Because a lot of people from the UK don't go every year. Some people go once every 4 or 5 years. And do you think sometimes it's
so
just
expensive.
trying to make...
That's the thing. To be able to go every year, it's such a luxury. And I know how lucky we are to be able to do that, and it's not without sacrifice to be able. We don't do other stuff so that we can do that when we're allowed to. But I think that if we were only going once every 5 years, we probably would have more pressure to make it perfect each time. Which I wouldn't necessarily want, because actually the imperfect is sometimes better.
Yes.
You remember the days that didn't go quite right, the ones that
Yeah.
go 100% perfect.
Yeah, when things don't go to plan, sometimes something better happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think the FOMO, the fear of missing out, is a very real thing. I mean, our last trip, as I said, was 2014. So it's been, 8 years, 7, 8 years now. And there's a lot of things changed in the meantime. And there's a lot that are on my personal got-to-do list. But I think also you have to realize that things happen, rides go tech. But yeah, I mean, things happen and no holiday is perfect. And you just have to chill and say, look, we're going to have fun. And that's the main thing. But yeah, I think the important thing, particularly if it's a first time or you haven't been in a long time, is know what your priorities are. Know what the things are that you desperately want to do, and try not to worry about everything else.
Yeah, and go back to basics.
I think
it's
that's
like,
a good way.
why did you book this holiday? Why have you gone to that? Is there a particular thing that you're looking to do? Is it, I don't know, Discovery Cove? Is it doing certain things? Like there's a particular attraction or ride that you've seen, whether it's advertised on TV or you've heard from someone, a friend that's been recently, and you just that's where you want to go and that's what you want to do. You need to sort of work out what you want to do while you're there. And I'd recommend don't try and squeeze everything into 2 weeks, because you will need another holiday afterwards just to recover from those 2 weeks.
I think we've all been there, haven't we? We've all got home and gone, oh my goodness, I am so tired. And you've got to the end of a really busy park day and you're just like, I can't even eat. I just need to go to bed. And that's no fun either. Especially if you've got kids, your kiddos with you who are, we've all seen the 4 or 5 o'clock meltdown from the kids in the parks because, and I've seen it. I'm hoping I've never done it. I don't remember ever doing it, but I've witnessed parents losing their rag with their children who are having a meltdown because they're hot, they're tired, they're hungry, they're full, they've got no sugar, too much sugar, all of that stuff that's going on. They're oversensitive, overstimulated by all the stuff that's going on. And the parents are having a meltdown at the kid going, come on, it's really expensive to be here. We had to save for 5 years to come and look at the, you're behaving. And actually, it's completely outside of their control a lot of the time. And I think that just to step back and to chill and let's not worry about, what, if it takes half an hour to walk from Crystal Palace into Adventureland, that's cool. Just stop and look at the little waterway, look at the plants, look at the things on the bridge and, wonder what it's like inside Club 33 as you cross the bridge. Does it matter? No, it doesn't actually. Sometimes you miss the detail by going too fast and rushing around.
Absolutely.
And I know that's something we've said loads and loads. So actually, I'd rather go slow and do less and see something different. I mean, I know we've been to Disneyland Paris I think we were there for 4 days a couple of years ago. And across the 4 days total, we did 15 attractions. That's all we did.
Right.
And that's because we were just chilling out, drinking hot chocolate, just enjoying the atmosphere rather than running and queuing. So, but that's with the knowledge that we will go back. So, it's a slightly different perspective, I think, probably.
Also, Paris is beautiful. The Disneyland Park itself is.
Oh, but then Animal Kingdom's also beautiful.
Animal Kingdom,
and Epcot's beautiful.
Animal Kingdom at night.
Not so much, but
I don't know. Galaxy's Edge. Galaxy's Edge at night is really nice.
Even Storyland is quite nice.
So this is it. Actually, just
that garden kind of way.
Yeah,
just that meander around with the lighting.
Yeah,
I think what I'm trying to say is that Disneyland Paris was made to be different.
Yeah.
It was made to have more greenery. It was made to have more
areas to wander
and just take in
I think a lot of the parks now have, as over the years that they've changed, adapted, and I think it fits so much more people than just going to doing attraction after attraction.
Absolutely.
Well, you can go anywhere to do that, can't you? You can go anywhere. You can go to Six Flags. You can go to here. You can go to Thorpe Park. You can go to Chessington. You can just belt out a few rides, and that's your day. There's a reason it's a theme park rather than an attraction park, and that's because the theme. That's because the story. So sometimes the plan is just to enjoy the atmosphere and the story rather than the plan to get 20 attractions in the first 3 hours of the day.
Are there certain aspects of planning that you look forward to?
All of it.
Food.
I really enjoy the whole planning bit that we do.
Yeah.
Because even though we do, we'll sit down and we'll look at, okay, which park are we doing which day, which rides are we going to do while we're in that park, what restaurants are we eating in on what days. And I know we're not necessarily going to stick to it all, but I still enjoy sitting down and looking at those menus and thinking, well, that looks nice. Oh, we've not done that one yet. I wouldn't mind
The
trying
only
that.
frustration is when you look at the menu and then as soon as you thought, I'm going to book it, they've changed the menu. And it's like, what do you mean? That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I was going to have that T-bone steak, and now you've taken it off the menu.
Yeah.
How very
Because
good.
it's 6 months later. Now that it's only 60 days, less likely that they're
That
going to
is
change
true.
the menu on me.
Yes.
Because I think there's a lot of people that didn't want to choose 6 months in advance what time I'm going to be having lunch, what time, where I'm going to be, what park I'm going to be. I know it's a little bit different now with all the restrictions that we've had after COVID, because you have to choose your park reservations when you book your ticket.
I never had a problem with picking my restaurants that far out. I want to go to them all. The ones I picked are the ones I want to go to.
Yeah.
And how do you get to that point, Peter? Do you sit and look at the menus and try and decide where you think the foods you've got something on each?
We tend to do it over time. We don't have a summit. We sit down in the lead up and we look at things and we think, that looks nice. That looks nice. That looks nice. Although now, of course, we're saying, well, I haven't been there yet. I haven't done that one yet. So that's coming in as a priority. We've never done Chef de France either, which probably surprises you.
But for example, Skipper's Canteen has definitely jumped to the top of our list.
Chef de France.
Katsura Grill.
Maybe we'll go Monsieur Paul this time.
Yeah, maybe.
As well.
But it's interesting. I think the world is divided into people who don't even want to choose where they're going tonight for tea, and people who not only can tell you 5 years in advance, oh, I want to go to this restaurant, but also I want to choose this from the menu.
Yeah, I think you'll be all right. I have to admit, since we got DVC, it's we have a spreadsheet, which is no surprise to no one, and it used to cover like about 4 or 5 years, because we choose to work out how many points we'd need if we wanted to stay in that hotel, what's coming up in a few years, just so we could make sure we could make the points that we've got fit. Obviously with COVID, it's confused all of that now, so it's like we've got lots of points and no trips at the minute.
Well, no, we have a trip. It's just
limbo.
In limbo, yeah.
Yes.
How far in advance do you plan your trips? I'm intrigued to know from everyone's point of view. I mean, we tend to book in our heads, if not physically, a year, maybe 18 months in advance. So we would always try and have at least a year, which, you know, when you're working, Dad and I both work in the same place, so trying to coordinate annual leave is tricky. So trying to make sure we're both off at the same time means that actually if we book our holidays a whole year in advance, then we're more likely to be able to get the dates that we want. There are people who are fly by the seat of their pants. I want next week off, which doesn't always work. But what about you guys? Do you book a year? Do you book 2 years? Do you book 5 years like Ben and Becca?
It's weird, I have to admit, because we used to use the Disney offer. When for 2016, 2017, we'd go for when they're doing a $200 gift card, we'd book in the April for January, then November the following year. Yeah, we used to going sort of that sort of time. But now with DVC, we
tends to be 11 months, about 12, 11.
We've normally planned about knowing what dates roughly about 18 months before we go. And then it's like, okay, we then work out when our 11 month is to book our home resort, and then we'll look at 7 months to see what other resorts we can swap to, and then it's just within that we book flights and when it's Black Friday or Boxing Day.
Yeah.
So you wait for the sales for the flights.
Yeah, best price
always.
for the flights always.
I think for us it's slightly weird because our circumstances have changed dramatically in the last couple of years, and that up till a few years ago we've not really been able to put much money aside per month for a holiday. So
living in London,
the gaps between London rent, tell me about it. So the gaps between our sort of expensive holidays were quite long, And to be honest, you guys are to blame for our next WDW holiday, because doing the waffle,
Harsh.
it just made us realize, like, it's been so long. And yes, we've got Japan planned, and yes, we've postponed it twice, and yes, we are jolly well going to go at some point. We are going to go, hopefully next year. But in the meantime, we booked a sneaky little backup trip
That turned out
for
to be-
Orlando, which has now moved from a sneaky little backup budget trip to a big
To a full-blown
blowout
Yeah.
holiday.
Yeah.
So you
I
guys
blame the
are
waffle for a lot of our trips, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all-
Especially
they're
like
all-
Disneyland
Yeah.
Paris ones.
Yeah, we'd never been
Yeah.
until we spoke to Claire.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Dan doesn't accept that as an excuse. But it's
What
your
research
fault.
trip? Yeah.
I blame
As
all
far
of
as
you. He doesn't believe me.
He knows you too well.
As far as booking holidays
Yeah.
goes, my holiday booking has changed. I used to have to book in October. So what we used to do, we used to book a Disney holiday, a WDW holiday a year out, and have it kind of penciled in. And then as soon as the booking opened, bam, we got it in.
Mm.
My booking period has changed. I can book something like 13 months out or something like that.
Okay.
So I can book that in.
Mm.
But it still does mean that I've got to get the holidays in pretty damn quick, because we're only allowed so many people off
Yeah.
from the
I
department.
think
Yeah.
that goes for a lot of people, actually, because
Yeah.
I'm quite lucky where I work, just because there's a one person in the office that if he's on holiday, I can't go, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
part of a three-man team, so
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Similar and it is that
Mm.
balance, isn't it? It's about trying to get the right time for you, but also for your colleagues. And
Yeah.
what about the other thing I'm interested in? Does anybody still, because I think we probably all like to have at some point, book a package deal? So I know that when I've talked to friends and they said, "Oh, we want to go to Orlando," I'm just going to book it all with one of the main. I'm not going to name names, but one of the main booking retailers
street,
that you
yeah.
can book. Yeah. And I look at the price and I'm just like, oh, you're really paying over the odds just for the security of having it all in one place. Now, that may work for somebody who's never been before. And I know that people who, certainly friends who were embarking on their first trip, they were just like, yeah, we know it's expensive. I said, look, I can find you exactly the same deal that you're paying for. About $2,500 less just by booking it separately. But they wanted the security of having a package deal, of having that as a holiday, having the security of the refund option if something happens. Weirdly, COVID happened and it did work out for them. But there is the DIY style trip where you do a lot of research yourself, or actually you can get an agent to do it for you in this way, or the go into here, have my money, book it all for me kind of approach. Give me something bog standard off the shelf. I'm going to get this flight, this car hire, and this hotel, and it's something that's in a brochure, online brochure these days. What's your view on that?
We booked package for our honeymoon. We'd never been.
our first couple of trips were package.
Yeah, just because we'd not had the experience of booking it separately, and at the time we'd gone into travel agent to book a honeymoon, and we hadn't thought of Florida. It was just our original plan. It wouldn't have worked out the way that they didn't sell the package that we wanted. So it was like, okay, what was our alternative? So went for Florida, and it was like we used their advice of what we're going to do,
what to do, where to stay, which tickets to get.
Yeah. And then on the next trip, we did a package as well, but that was because it was a really good price and we didn't realize how much cheaper we could get it. And then we ventured into, I can book all this separate and book it myself. And it's like, actually, I like this because it means that I can plan and I can control different aspects of the trip. I can do other things. I don't have to stick by the package that I'm sold, and save quite a lot of money in that aspect of doing it. And
then we got DVC and we didn't have a choice.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to book it separately.
Yeah.
We booked our first trip with Virgin as a package. But since then, we've kind of found a nice compromise, haven't we, Jill?
Yeah. We've booked with a travel counsellor, which basically means you can tailor make your trip. You can have it exactly how you want it. You're not limited to things in brochures. and it costs you the same as if you'd booked it yourself. But it does mean that if things go wrong, there is one point of contact. There is one point of contact for things that need to change. So that's really helpful.
And we've also used travel counsellors to book other holidays as well. And we
so an
swear by them.
independent agent who does it.
Yes.
It's like a broker, isn't it? So somebody who does all that work, the legwork for you, really.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting,
But you
isn't
do
it? Because
get
I mean,
what you want.
Yeah, we tend to do DIY. I tend to frustrate Dan by spending months and months looking at hotel deals and, finding, the whole saga of choosing a villa, which can take the best part of a year. And also finding the best flight deals and car hire. I actually enjoy all that bit of it. And part of me thinks I should just do it as a job and make some money out of it. But there's something about being in control of it for me that I know that if something goes wrong, I know what I've booked and I know the conversations I've had with people. But there's also that risk of if it does something go wrong, then it does all sit with me. It's that single point of success, single point of failure moment. But I have to be really organised about it. So I'm quite I like to be in control of it and have all the documents to my email and all of that stuff, which I think probably frustrates the rest of my family. But I think then I know where everything is. I know where to find stuff, and I know that I've satisfied myself that I may not have the cheapest flight, but I know I've got the best deal. And that for me is the bit. It's got to be a good deal, even if it's not the cheapest. Something that you book off the shelf, for the mass market, I don't necessarily think you get the best value for money.
No,
that's the bit I was getting to. That I think that's the key for me.
I think there are some times you can get some really good deals through travel agents where it's got to a point where they some offers that we've seen before have gone looked amazing, but then sometimes when you look into the details, actually you book it separately. Sometimes it isn't. It's just sometimes you just need to go get a price from a travel agent, then go and look at it bit by bit, and then work out actually it is a good deal, and I'll go and book the travel agent because actually I can't get it cheaper.
Yeah.
So sometimes it does work. It works both ways.
I think also the last few years have shown us something. It's everything needs to be cancelable, changeable. You need to know the T&Cs. You need to know what happens if the situation changes.
There's probably one positive out of COVID that's happened is a lot of companies are having to change how they do their cancellation options, because it used to be with most flights, sorry, that's it. It's not in our control, so we don't need to give you the money back. But because of COVID and the way it is, it's the way that the travel industry has had to adapt.
Yeah. And also, I think a bit of background knowledge is useful. I mean, for instance, you see sort of all these incredibly cheap coach trips to Disneyland Paris that look a really good bargain until you discover that you spend an entire day and night on the coach and something like 8 hours in Disneyland Paris. So, it's having that background knowledge.
I think that's really important, Gill, that you do your research. So whether you're booking directly with Disney, whether you're booking with Universal, whether you're booking through a travel counsellor or a high street chain, or you're doing it all yourself, do your research. Know what it is you're looking for when you get there, which is come back to Ben's first point, is that actually, do you want to do Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, Gatorland, everything, drive to Busch Gardens? Do you even want a car? And actually work out what it is you feel is manageable for whoever's going in your trip. So if you've got 3 small children going with you, doing everything in a 2-week space of time is probably not reasonable. If it's 2 adults on your own and you're happy to blast through every day from 8 a.m. till midnight, carry on, have a great time, but take some analgesia with you.
And maybe a rest day or 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
but
the travel days are your rest days.
That's what Discovery calls.
Right.
Yeah. 8 hours on the plane, there, 8 hours back.
That's all the sleep you need. What are you talking about? But I think
sleep when
it's
I'm
about
dead.
Have a think about who in your trip is going and actually what are their requirements, and then base your trip around that rather than what other people are doing, because someone else's how Ben and Becca holiday and how you and Peter holiday, Jill, will be different to how we do as a family.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's how it should be. We should all do the things that's right for us, not just because somebody else said it's the right way of doing it.
And if anyone's got any questions of anything that we've discussed on planning, just send us a message on our socials at gbmickeywaffle or our email address waffleon@gbmickeywaffle.com.
Indeed. And let us know, guys, in the Waffler's Arms. Post and tell us, how do you plan your holidays? What do you think? Have you ever turned up and decided the day before, right, I'm going to Disney World tomorrow, and just winged it?
Does anyone play bus roulette? Does anyone play Disney bus roulette?
Yes.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
It's a bit harder to do now with the park reservation system, but previously, I'm in awe of people who are able to take that plunge, because I think that would just freak me out, where you just stand at the bus stop.
Do you know what? We wouldn't
do it in the morning. wherever the bus
we
goes
never did
to.
it in the morning. We'd always do it in the afternoon, because what we'd normally do is we'd have booked our 3 fast passes for a park, gone and then got lunch, come back to the hotel, had a nap, whatever, gone in the pool, and then go back out and like, where should we go? And it's like, well, look at the app, because last trip which one was on there. So it's like we'd walk down there and you'd know which one was coming.
Well, we'd also do it with lunch, actually. We'd go out to the bus stop, and whichever hotel bus was coming next, we'd jump on that one and go and have lunch at that hotel.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That sounds like a great idea.
That sounds fun.
Good.
Fun.
As long as All-Star music didn't.
Waffle challenge. There you go.
So if we went to All-Stars, I'll probably walk down to McDonald's that's nearby.
Yeah.
Well, often more than one bus comes at once. So you do have a...
That'd be a great Wafflers challenge. Yeah.
I have to give it a go next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, now that we've talked about planning a trip to Walt Disney World, I would like to virtually take you there right now and invite you to come Disney with me. Now, as regular listeners will know, this is one of our highlights. What we do is we take favourite aspects of a holiday in Walt Disney World and we ask the wafflers to score them. So it's my turn this time, and I get to pick a ride or attraction, a restaurant or a food location, and an experience, show or parade. And the scores will be marked out of 10, and I will explain a little bit more about the criteria as we go along. Now, as we don't have a couple of wafflers with us tonight, we don't have John with us, and we don't have Sammy with us tonight. Hi, guys. So we may have a little bit of messing about to do with the scores, but also wafflers can abstain if they wish. So don't worry. We will do the maths behind the scenes and we'll make it all work out all right.
I will be doing the maths behind the scenes.
No.
No.
Our normal mathematician's not here tonight.
No, he's not.
I know. So
who's going to
I'm
text
trying to
John?
find my abacus.
I was going to say, should we just text John and say, John, can you just add this up and send it back?
Yeah. And of course, there's an interactive element to this because our listeners and viewers can let us know their scores. You can post them on the Wafflers Arms, our Facebook pub, and let us know what you think of my choices.
Should we have a look at the leaderboard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See where we are.
Oh.
Joint first place, Fantasmic and Katsura Grill with 61. Joint second place, Boo to You and Flight of Passage with 59. And third place, joint third place, in fact, Candlelight Processional and Haunted Mansion with 58. And then down in the bottom, we've got Big Thunder on 51, Jungle Cruise on 48, and Yachtsman Steakhouse on 46.
I would not have
Out of
put Jungle
70.
Cruise second to bottom.
Or Big Thunder third to
Or
bottom.
Big
Yeah.
I don't think I did.
Mm.
Mm,
But there you go. That's how these things work out. So
you never know. That is true.
Yeah.
Can anything beat Fantasmic?
And
Well,
Katsura Grill.
Yep.
let's see tonight. So for my ride, I am going to pick a controversial one. Ben and Becca may wish to hide behind the sofa. And all of you should prepare to have a certain song stuck in your head all day. Because my ride is It's a Small World.
After all.
Now, although people might be forgiven for thinking that this was an opening day attraction in Disneyland, in fact, it didn't open there until 1966, which was a full 11 years later. So it's pretty much the same age as me. It was designed and built by Disney for the 1964 World's Fair in New York before moving to Disneyland. The ride has a presence in every Disney park apart from Shanghai. It features dolls dressed as children from various countries around the world, singing in their own languages the famous, or shall I say infamous, Sherman Brothers song. And as for why I've picked it, well, I love the artwork and the detail. There's always new things to spot. For instance, the Disneyland Paris version has Welsh dolls on the moon. I've enjoyed the Christmas celebration overlay version in Disneyland Paris, and I would love to see the one in Disneyland someday. The pastel colours and the winding approach to the one in Paris, as well as the fact that you can often see the Disneyland Railroad train going right past the front, make that my favourite version that I've done so far. So what about you, Wafflers? Is this a must ride or is it a must hide?
It used to be a must hide.
It took us.
And then, I don't know, it took us a little while. I think we did 5 trips without doing it. So it took us a while because it was like we had the typical thing, everyone's going to avoid it. There's no point going on. It's a boat ride and you get stuck. That song stuck in your head all day. And we thought, oh, we'll give it a go one day. And we did. And I don't mind it.
Got on there with like a 5-minute queue one evening.
Yeah. I think it might have been a party night or it was just late in the day or we got a fast pass for it. But it was one of those things that we did, enjoyed it. It was okay. It's probably not high up on my list to be a must attraction every trip. But I'd definitely give it a go if the wait was short enough.
It's cute. The issue I have with it actually is an audio thing, because each of the countries are singing It's a Small World in their own language. I can't hear what they're singing.
That can be a good thing.
I know, but it actually really gets in my ears and kind of screeches a little.
It's better than the original idea.
Yes, the original idea was to have them all singing their own national anthems. Can you imagine?
Wow. Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Oh my gosh, that would have been
interesting.
Yeah. I need to do that one day. Just like an international day. One day, just like change it and just see what it would sound like.
I don't mind It's a Small World, which is rather lucky since it's Gill's favourite ride. I will always do It's a Small World. I quite like it. You have to take it for what it is. And if you take it for what it is, it's actually very clever. And it's very, very interesting the way it moves around continents. It isn't just thrown together. All Europe is together, all South America's together. It works very well for me. And I wouldn't say it's my favorite ride, but I don't hate it either. It's pretty good.
I'm not a fan of dolls, so it doesn't score highly for me.
Yeah.
Okay. But Pirates and Pirates of the Caribbean are just advanced dolls.
Let's not even go there.
Here we go.
Let's not go there.
I think it's a size thing.
Gill, I am 100% with you. I love It's a Small World. And I know people might be surprised by that. It is a must-do for us, at least. And I would say we do it most days. We're in the Magic Kingdom. I think it's unusual for us to visit the Magic Kingdom and not go on It's a Small World. I love the Mary Blair artwork. The colours and the shapes, I think it's fabulous. And I love the fact that, just like Peter said, you go around every continent and there are new things to see every time. And you get to spot the hidden Mickeys and the dolls that might not be working at this point in time. Yeah. And that all of that. I love it. It's quirky. I've never seen any other ride like it. And then when you think about the ethos and the thought behind it, of bringing the world together, and then you've got the song that says it all. I think it's such a beautiful emotion behind the ride. and I think that it's done incredibly well. So I love it.
I prefer Paris to Disney World, but that's my own personal choice. Yeah, I think
I like them both.
that's
To be
my
honest
own
with you, I
personal
think
choice.
I
do
think
like
it
We can't
catches
say
me
much
out.
about Paris.
Can't
We
say
did-
much
No,
about
yeah.
Paris.
We did
One.
5 minutes of Paris before we got evacuated. So
Yes.
Well, no, we got stuck on it for 45 minutes,
Yeah.
and then we got evacuated.
Yeah. It
I
catches
think-
me out. I can't quite remember which is which sometimes, and you get on the one in Walt Disney World and you're like, oh, this isn't what. Oh no, because
It's in the wrong
order.
order. Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, what the Paris one has that America doesn't have is America. You actually have
Yes.
some dolls from America in the ride.
You do.
And also, I like the multicolored aspect. I think the first time I went on the one in Walt Disney World, and it was the backdrop was all white as you went down the queue, and I thought, oh, is this a Christmas overlay? Because
I know what you mean.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm so used to having the sort of multicolored, which is more like the original Disneyland one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I think there's nothing. It's inoffensive. It's got family appeal.
Yeah.
And my kids love it. And when Morgan was young, it was the boat ride was just known. It was known as the boat ride in our house. And him and my mum used to ride it literally over and over, just go straight round and back on and straight round and back on all day, every day when they were there, when he was too young to go on other stuff. So, yeah, I think it really does suit families. It's fun.
Also, there are certain versions, Disneyland and Tokyo, I think are the only two at the moment, that have characters from the films incorporated into the ride. I know this was a controversial move and some people really didn't like the idea, but from the video that I've seen, they've done it really sympathetically.
Yep.
So you can spot Lilo, you can spot Anna, you can spot various sort of figures who are in the appropriate country, but it's not glaringly obvious.
Do you have a favourite figure in the whole attraction, Gill? Because I know I do. I definitely do. Do you have a favourite doll?
In the Paris one, it's got to be Cleopatra because she always winks at me.
Anyone else have a favourite doll?
There's one of the little Hawaiian dolls.
Okay.
Looks
Looks
like-
I love
like-
the surfer.
Okay. Yeah.
I love the surfing doll. He's there on his surfboard and the water's spinning round. I love that particular one.
Yeah. I like the Italian gondolier for some reason. I'm always looking for it, and I have no particular good reason why, but it's there. Yeah.
I quite like the Welsh geese. Are they Welsh geese that are there with the beaks that snap out? I think they're quite fun as well.
So I think it's time for our scores. Could you give me your scores, please, Wafflers, for the queue, the ride vehicle, and overall immersion? Let's start with Ben.
Well, Q, I've never been a big fan of it at either Paris or Walt Disney World. I think the Walt Disney World has had a bit of a refurb for the 50th, which has made it even more colourful. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Yeah. So,
Okay. For the ride vehicle?
Ride vehicle, it's very similar to Pirates. It's a boat ride. It does what it's meant to do. I'm going to give that a 6.
And the overall experience?
It's not my favourite. We've got stuck on it. I'm going to be generous and give it a 6.
Okay.
Cool. And Becca?
Queue line. I don't know whether it's technically part of the queue, but I do like the front facade as you walk in and the big clock at the back and all of that. So I'm going to give the queue line a 6, just because it can get very long and there isn't much to do in it, if that makes sense. Ride vehicle, boat's a boat. So I'm going to give that a 6. Overall immersion, I'm going to give a 7.
Okay. And let's go to Peter.
Okay. So we start with the queue. Yeah, the queue's not the most exciting. It does its job. 7.
Okay.
The ride vehicle. Yeah. The ride vehicles are just designed so that you can get the maximum people through in the time. And I think they do a really, really good job of that. So I'm going to give them an 8. And the overall experience, I'm going to give a 9 because I kind of agree with Claire on one point. It's fun to spot the dolls that are not working and not working properly. In Paris, on the line of Indian dancers, there used to be one that was out of sync. And you just knew that it was there all the time. Yeah.
Locking and popping.
Yeah. And it went, duk, duk, duk. And it was always fun to see. They fixed it now. But yeah, so yeah, I'm going to give that 9.
Okay, and Claire.
So the queue line, as others have said, it isn't the most exciting. It is a semi-switchback. And I think despite all the beautiful colours, it is fairly dull. So I would go for a 5 for the queue line. The ride vehicle, as you say, is boating boat face, isn't it? That's all it is. It's just can you get 3 or 4 people in a row, and it's nothing special. So I'm gonna give it a 5. But the overall immersion, I actually, as I said, I love the attraction overall, and I think that there's a little bit of latent love at the end of the attraction because it does stay with you all day, all week, all month, and all year, because you never ever stop singing the song, and it just needs one person to mention it, and that's it. It's stuck in your head forever. That wonderful earworm by the Sherman Brothers. So I am going to give the overall immersion an 8, but simply for the fact that if someone mentions it, you can picture yourself right back in there, and you can hear it forever.
Okay. My scores for the queue, I'm going for the Paris version because that does have a bit more to look at. You have the clock with all the characters coming out if you hit it at the right time. And you have the train going past if you're right time. So you do have things to look at in the queue. I'm going to give it a 7. The ride vehicle, yeah, it's a boat. It might be nice if they maybe gave them different names or different nationalities or whatever, but you could end up, so I suppose, fighting to get into your favorite nationality or whatever. So I'm going to give it a 7. It does what it needs to do. The overall experience, though, for me, it's a 10. It is the quintessential Disney ride, and my holiday is not complete until I've done it.
The Imagineering idea, they could just design them to look like different types of boats from around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, which boat we're going to ride around in today?
Everybody got like the Viking longboat.
Viking longboat, the gondola, the little rowboat.
Yeah.
What do we get in the UK? Pedalo.
Yeah.
Or the rowboat.
Canoe.
Pedalo.
Kayak, yeah.
I like this idea.
Oh, right.
It's cute, like the ride. So.
Or you could decorate them in like the nationality's flag.
Mm. But then would you have fights breaking out because you didn't want to sit in that one, or you desperately wanted to sit in that one, or that country'd beaten you at the football or whatever. So yeah. But yeah, great. Well, thanks, guys. So that was my ride. So Claire, how are we doing?
I'm just doing the maths.
Wow.
So I have it. Oh, hang on.
I was going to say
Yes,
you've
there's
beaten
7
John
of us,
already.
isn't there? Yeah, no. I'm here. I've got it. So for the queue line, we had a total of 30, but because there are 2 people missing, I have added the average score on again for 2, so the total becomes 40. For the vehicle, we have a total of 32, which becomes 44.8. So we'll give that a little round up to 45. I'll give it the 0.2 extra. And then for the overall immersion, we had 40, so that becomes 56. So it gives it a total score out of 70 of 47 for It's a Small World.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Well, thanks, Claire. The next category is restaurant or food location. Now, I am a fan of signature restaurants, as you may have guessed. So I've chosen my favourite from our last visit, which is Gico the Cooking Place, which is situated at Animal Kingdom Lodge. Now, let's face it, if you go to Animal Kingdom Lodge, you are not going to go hungry. There's Boma, there's Sanaa, both of which are popular choices. So why would you go to a restaurant that is much more expensive and doesn't give you a view of the animals outside? Well, one reason could be the breathtaking decor, which draws on African culture and nature. You can check out the flying birds above your heads, the rings around the pillars, and the beaded screens, as well as the giant cooking pots at the open kitchen, which gives the restaurant its name. As you eat, you will also notice subtle changes in the lighting, which mimics the progress of a day on the savannah. This place is upscale for sure, but it's not at all stuffy or formal, and it's the perfect place for a quiet, relaxing meal. But what about the food? Well, there are African-inspired dishes, of course, such as grilled wild boar tenderloin with creamy pap, which is similar to polenta or grits for our American listeners, and chakalaka tomatoes. I picked that one just so I could say chakalaka. Main courses include Botswana-style beef short rib and West African koki corn. Less adventurous eaters can choose filet mignon with a mac and cheese, which apparently is a real favourite. Or there are plainer options such as a grilled chicken breast or pizza for smaller appetites or pickier eaters. Desserts include a dark chocolate brownie with braai spice and Kenyan coffee streusel, or milk tart, which is an African version of custard tart, seasoned with cinnamon and cardamom, and accompanied by honey and vanilla-infused cantaloupe. Of course, there is always ice cream too, and there's something called Pumba's Dessert Grub, which is no doubt slimy yet satisfying. It's worth noting that Gico serves exclusively African wines, and it has its own wine room. And if you treat yourself to the Wanyama Safari, you'll end up with a private dinner in the restaurant. So, wafflers, have any of you eaten here, or would you like to?
Never eaten here. Wouldn't mind trying it one day, though. It is on my list of, oh, that looks interesting.
Yeah, it's just
I
a
have to
place
say,
that...
it's not somewhere that's come across my radar in terms of the top places. I've not eaten there, and I have to say, it's not. It sounds great the way you described it, Gill, but I'm not sure it's one that's going to make it to the top of my list for the next couple of trips. I think there's probably other places that appeal to me more, other than the wine room, obviously.
Actually, I've not really looked at the menu much until today, and actually, there's quite a few things there that it covers quite a wide range of people that want to try African-inspired foods, or do people want to keep things plain. So it's quite a nice mix of that. But I think
I'm looking at that Moroccan lamb shack. That sounds quite nice.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have eaten there because I'm married to Gill, but I really enjoyed it. The atmosphere is terrific. It's always worth getting chocolate if you go into an African restaurant, because the Africans do chocolate really, really well. They have a really good climate for it.
I just get chocolate with anything. Doesn't matter where I am.
But particularly from the northwest corner. I've been to Ghana, and their chocolate is divine. So, yes, I would say go. If you haven't been, go. It is not like anything else you have at Walt Disney World. The atmosphere is terrific. Just go.
It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. There is so much to see, and I love the way the lighting changes.
It's a great excuse to go to Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yeah.
I've poked my head around the door on occasions, walked past it, and the interior does look gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's all dark woods and atmospheric lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we walked past it sometimes going to Mara when we stayed there,
Oh, yeah.
and it's just really nice. It's just seeing it empty first thing in the morning as well. It's just something definitely that would go. In Florida, we've always been more breakfast people,
Okay.
just because normally that's the cheaper option.
Yeah.
But especially for a sit down. But it's something that's definitely will be making our list in the future. Looking at what I can see on the menu.
Yeah. Also, I think it's worth saying the menu looks very different, having looked at it recently from when we visited in 2014. I think that is partly because obviously all the menus are starting to come back on stream.
Yep.
Now, there have been supply issues. There have been obviously restaurants closed down. So it may be that if you looked again in a few months, there would be much more on the menu. So it's obviously that goes for all the restaurants, really. So can I have your scores, please, for menu choice, theming, and value for money? And we'll start again with Ben.
Okay, so menu choice, I think it's quite a wide variety of things from like lamb shank to chicken to beef short rib. What's on the desserts? That's the only thing I haven't really had a look at. There's quite a few. There's chocolate, and more chocolate. So I can't really. From what I've seen, without going there, I'm going to give it a 7 on menu choice. So value for money, it is a signature. So it's a difficult one if dining plan when it comes back and whether that enters into it. But looking at if I was just paying out of pocket, what I'd probably have, it's probably similar price to California Grill, being another signature. So I would probably give it a 6 if value for money. I think without seeing it, without being there and trying it, it's a difficult one to judge. But theming, I'm going to give it a 9. I think it's one that I've seen a lot of good reviews of people being there, and it just ticks the box.
Great. Okay. What about you, Becca?
Again, I've not been there, but menu choice, there's quite a bit on there that I'd try. So I'm going to give that an 8. Value for money, I don't know what the portion sizes are like. So it's actually quite a difficult one without knowing that. So I'm going to assume that they're a similar size to every other signature and go for a 7. And I'm going to agree with you about the theming for that. I'm going to go for a 9.
Great. Thanks, Peter.
I don't tend to go to a restaurant because I am worried about the portion size and things like that. I tend to go to a restaurant because I'm interested in what it's got and the style and so the first category was
menu choice.
There is generally a good menu choice, and it's very different for Walt Disney World. I know that Walt Disney World is not all burgers and fries and things like that, and they do like to try and do different things in different restaurants, and different restaurants have different ideas and menus and things. But I think this is different again from others, so I would give it a good 8 for menu choice. And the next one is
theming.
Theming 10. 10 without a doubt. I just can't. I particularly like the fact that they've covered some of the trees with the neck rings that people wear. They look really good. They look kind of like giant necks now. I come to think of it. But
that's not creepy at all.
No.
And value for money.
It is a signature, so value for money is a relative term. The service when we went was excellent. I can't deny that, and we really enjoyed the food, and it was hot. So I would give it 8.
Thank you. And Claire.
So GCO is not somewhere that I have It's not somewhere I've even looked through the door. Even having been to Boma and out to the lookout, I haven't looked at the menus, and I haven't really spoken to anyone who's been there. So I'm going to take the approach that Becca took last month, and I am going to abstain from this vote because I don't feel that I can actually
Cool.
do it any justice whatsoever, and I would be just talking a load of rubbish if I tried to give any reasonable opinion. And I don't want to do that because I think that we are better than that. So I am not going to flannel. I am just going to abstain.
Okay. And as for my scores, menu choice. As I say, what's there on the menu at the moment is less than was available when we went. So I suspect that more things will come on stream. But I found there were some really unusual items, things that you wouldn't find anywhere else, as well as things to satisfy people who don't want to be that adventurous. So I would say menu choice, I'm going to give it an 8. Theming, it's got to be a 10. It is absolutely beautiful restaurant. And just spending an evening in there, watching the lighting change, it's such a relaxing, romantic evening. You don't necessarily think of a restaurant in Walt Disney World as a place for a quiet, romantic meal, but yeah, this definitely was. Value for money, yeah, you've got to put your Disney signature goggles on. Portions are fairly standard signature portions, so you won't get mountains of fries. You will get perhaps slightly smaller portions than some restaurants, not minuscule. We're not talking, nouvelle cuisine. You will have a hearty meal. You will have plenty to eat, but it's not too much. So value for money with the proviso that it is a special meal. It's a special treat. I will give it I'll give it an 8. So now Claire's got to do even more complicated maths.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, wow. Gico's come out amazingly on this. I think having a few people not here and abstaining might have helped. So for menu choice, it gets 54. For value for money, it gets 51. And for theming, gets 66. I hope I've done the maths right, which gives it an overall score of 57.
Wow.
Ooh. Wow.
I think it scored. Yeah. It only dropped 2 total points for theming, so maybe it should be at the top of my list of places to go next trip.
Yeah.
I hope it lives up to its.
Maybe you could do the Wanyama Safari and end up there.
I'd like that. Yeah,
they do have wine tastings in there, I think. So
they do 4:00 in the afternoon, I believe. Or they
that's a good time for wine tasting.
Yeah, so they're
free as well, but don't quote me on that.
They used to do the free chef demonstrations.
So there you go. If you happen to be around Animal Kingdom Lodge 4:00 in the afternoon,
go to Gico.
Yeah.
Maybe not in a minute because I think they're still closed. But
when they were open.
Yeah. So finally, my experience, show or parade. Now, in contrast to the grand scale of some of our previous choices, I have chosen something that you can usually catch every day in the Magic Kingdom. It's the Main Street Trolley Show, performed by the citizens of Main Street. This takes place several times a day, and it's got different versions for each season, as well as a Holly Jolly Trolley Show. You can probably guess what time of year that happens. The trolley makes several stops along Main Street, and at each stop, the citizens get off, and they perform a short medley of songs, complete with energetic dancing. Their outfits are not only matched to the era of Main Street, but also to the season. And songs include the classic Walking Right Down the Middle of Main Street, USA, which you are now probably humming, and of course, the trolley song. My reason for choosing this is very simple. I love classic musicals, and this is pretty much like living in the middle of a Hollywood musical. The first time I saw this show, I didn't know it was going to happen. I was in the Emporium and I saw some people in costume walking through the shop, and next minute I heard the music start up and a musical number happened right in front of me. And I spent the rest of the morning with an enormous smile on my face. And my only regret is that the same thing doesn't happen every day where I live. We do our best.
We do our best, yeah.
So, what do you think, fellow wafflers? Are you transported with delight?
Yes.
Yes.
It's amazing.
I
It
do love
really
the
is.
trolley show.
Yeah, it's great.
I think we first time we saw it might have been the
It would
Christmas
have been
one,
Christmas.
and it was
Oh, wow.
2014. We walked into the park, and it was like, oh my god, there's Christmas trees everywhere. There's garland, and within like 5 minutes of walking through the park, the Main Street trolley show straight in front, and it was just it just transported me away. It was just really magical.
And they're so talented.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
really, really talented cast members as well.
Mm.
I don't know what it is about the trolley show, but it has this magnetic quality to it that I can't stay away. So I hear the horse, I hear the music, the in the background, and that's it. I've got to go and watch it. I have to stand there, and I can just stand there, the biggest grin on my face. I'll sing along, and the cast members interact with you when you're at the side of the road. It's just fun. You see the same cast members day in, day out doing that show. And I know that it's a massive favourite for a lot of people. I can't get enough of it. I could watch it all day, every day. And I just wish that I'd had the opportunity to be in the trolley show when I was, younger.
Yes.
It would be like I know we've talked about our favourite roles in cast previously. Trolley show would be up there most definitely in terms of just the costumes and the seasons and the different songs that come in the different seasons. I love it, love it, love it. And I think the fall costumes are probably my favourite. I think they're beautiful.
They managed to keep
good choice.
They managed to keep it fresh.
Mm.
They do it so many times a day, every day, but they do. They manage to keep it fresh.
It's the same thing every day, and you have this. You have. I think there's so many people that have a huge affection for that particular attraction show.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just glorious and joyful. I love it.
Yeah.
Guaranteed to put a smile on your face whenever you see it.
Totally.
Especially if it's your first day in Magic Kingdom, and it's like the first thing you see when you walk into the park, and it's like you just
wow.
You're home.
Yeah.
You just smile. You just enjoy the music.
Yep.
You just see everyone having a good time.
Yeah.
The most underrated person on the trolley show is the trolley
the
driver.
horse. Oh,
well, close, very close.
So you think the cast members can dance? You should see the horse.
The trolley driver has to sit there all through the show with a smile on their face, every single show, every single day, no matter what they're doing. So
I could give it a go. I reckon I'd be there.
I think I could do that.
No matter what the horse is doing as well.
Well,
quite, yes. But no, it's a great little show. It just cheers you up.
Yeah,
totally.
It helps create that magic.
Yeah.
For the
I'm soppy about Main Street anyway.
Yeah.
I get very soppy about Main Street, and it's just part of what makes that era, and just makes you feel that you're walking down the street and you start dancing along.
We mentioned earlier about Small World, about songs being stuck in your head.
Yeah.
Once you've heard that, it has that same effect.
Yeah.
Until you've gone on Small World and then you've forgotten about Main Street.
Yeah.
Let's go back and find Main Street to get Small World out your head.
Yep. It's a vicious circle.
Yeah.
Or nip to Epcot and go into and have a little spark of inspiration.
Yeah.
And that
that'll do it. Yes. Figment will do it for you.
Yeah.
So, Wafflers, can I have your scores, please, for the length of the show, the accessibility in terms of time and venue, and also the audio? So, starting again with Ben.
Okay, I'm going to go straight for the audio, and that's going to be a 10. I can't score it. If I score higher, I probably would. But it's just amazing, really is. It just sets the tone of Main Street. You walk in, you just hear it start. It's just something that we try and fit in every trip. experience length is really good because it's not too long. Because the thing is, in Main Street, you've got to fit that sort of demographic where some people are going to be rushing into the park to go to their first attraction, but then also some people just want to slowly meander down Main Street.
Yeah.
So it's something that you don't want too long. It's not like a parade that you're there for 20 minutes, half an hour waiting for it to come through. So I'm going to give the length probably a 9. And what was the other one? It was accessibility. Because it happens quite often. It's accessible to most people. It's not like you have to wait around too long for it. I'm going to give that a 9 as well.
Cool.
Lovely. So, Becca.
Audio, yeah, I'm going to agree. They're very talented. The music's brilliant, so I'm going to give that a 10. Experience length, yeah, it's just about right. So I'm going to give that a 9. Accessibility, the only thing you really need is a Magic Kingdom ticket and a park reservation. And like you say, it goes throughout the day. The only tiny little bugbear I have with it is that I don't believe it's scheduled on any of the times guides. So what tends to happen with us is we'll walk out of a shop, they'll be there 3/4 of the way through, and so we've missed it all.
Yeah.
And so you never quite know when it's going to happen. So I'm going to give it an 8 for that.
Great. Okay, and Peter.
Sound, yeah, the sound is well balanced. You can hear the voices and the background music, both level. The sound is fantastic. It's a 10. Okay, what was the next one? Length.
Length, yeah.
Length, yeah. It's nice. It's nice. It's short. It's just a nice length. And if you do come through it quarter to halfway through, all you need to do is run down Main Street and you can catch it again. It's accessibility. It's in Main Street. The only way it can't be accessible is if it draws a massive crowd, which, because it's performed down Main Street, different places, it never really does. So I'm going to give it a 10.
What was your length score?
Length score was 9.
Thank you.
Okay, and Claire, your scores.
Audio's 10. I can sing those songs all day. I know them anyway. Yep. And then, channel your inner Judy Garland and sing along. Length, it always leaves me wanting more. It's never too much. And I think that that's just about perfect. If it was too long, you'd be floundering a bit. I also think the cast members are incredible to be able to keep doing like 3 times down Main Street. I think they do. If it was any longer, I think they would expire. So I'm going to give it, because it always leaves me wanting to see it again. I never get exhausted from it. I'm going to give it a 10. Accessibility. There's no, I think it only happens in the morning. I think it happens up until about 1 p.m. And that's because, as far as I can remember, and it might only be because I've only been in the summer, the horses tend to only work in the morning because of the heat. So they're out from sort of extra magic hours, so 8 a.m. till about lunchtime. After that, they go back to the ranch because it's too hot for them in the middle of the park. So I think if you were coming into the park in the afternoon, you might miss the trolley show. More fool you, come in the morning and then you can see it. That's what I would say. I'm going to give it a 9 simply for that fact. But, it doesn't really get better than the trolley show.
Great. And my scores. The length of the show, yeah, as everybody said, if it was any longer, I think it would become, apart from being incredibly tiring for the performers, I think it would also become something that you had to schedule and commit to and plan for. And I like the fact that you don't. If you do happen upon it, you can nip up to the next stop or down or whatever, and you've got a good chance of catching it again. So length, I'm going to give it a 10. Audio, yeah, as everyone said, it's a 10. The songs are great. It's a good mix of familiar songs and less familiar songs. It's always stuff that leaves you with a song in your heart and a smile in your mouth. And you can always hear all the words properly. You can hear what's going on. Accessibility, as long as you've got a ticket for Magic Kingdom and you don't mind, spending a little time on Main Street, which, let's face it, who minds spending time on Main Street? It's accessible. So I'm going to give that a 10 as well.
Okay. By my face, you can see I'm very excited by this.
Yes.
So for length, the total score was 66.
Wow.
For audio, I think we have our first full house. That was a 70. Full marks from everyone. And accessibility was a 64, which gives it a total score out of 70 of 67.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Where was that scoreboard again?
Okay, so we
I
have
think we just
a...
Smashed it.
We
Yeah.
have.
You did, yeah.
There we are.
Wow. That means actually Yacht's Mistake is still at the bottom, but just above that was Small World. Small World's not at the bottom.
Yes,
And
that's
G-Co's 57, so just behind Haunted
Middle of the
Mansion.
road.
Yeah, not bad at all. But
You've
yeah,
got a
Trolley
very
Show
good-
has smashed it.
Yeah, Joe, you've got a very good day planned for Disney World.
Yeah,
Yes.
good. Well, and with that, I think we have to declare our day at Disney World at an end. So thank you, fellow wafflers, for joining me. And thank you, listeners, viewers, for joining us. And if you want more waffle in your life, and let's face it, who doesn't? Remember, we go live for a 1 hour-ish show every Wednesday. And we have a longer live show every third Friday of the month. And you can also join the Waffleers in the Waffler's Arms on Facebook. And we can be found on all your favourite socials at GB Mickey Waffle. If that is too much to remember, it's too much to remember for me, just head over to our website, which is www.gbmickeywaffle.com, and you will find links there to all our goings on. So it's now time for me to unpack my suitcase from the cruise, get all my cruise merch out, and put a load of washing on. Oh, who am I kidding? That suitcase is going to sit there for another 2 days at least. Is that just me? It's not just me, is it? Anyway, from all of us here at the Great British Mickey Waffle, there's just one thing left to say.
Waffle on.
Waffle on.